All right, for today, what we're going to be doing is looking at a client that has asked me to do a few changes on their site. One of the things they wanted to do was update their logo and improve some of the performance with the page speed. So let's see kind of what this looks like when we load the page. Got the little animation here. Um, First thing I noticed, we got a bright green color. It's a little hard on the eyes. We'll see what we can do to maybe adjust that. But yeah, when we click on these links, it seems to take a while to load. So we'll look into the loading issues and see if there's any other improvements we can do. Um, so yeah, we'll dive into this. I'll show you kind of what I'm thinking of doing, and as we tackle each situation, where to go to look to update this logo. Is this a theme? Is this hard coded? And we'll figure out what needs to be done. So I'll show you those steps. So we just logged into the admin, and one of the first places I look to change logos or anything when we have a theme is under Appearance, and usually there'll be some sort of theme options. We have Theme Editor, but that's for the files. But right here we can see we have Screener Theme. So if we click on that, and usually you have the options just right here in this view. It looks like for this particular one, it uses the customizer, and that took forever to load, so I already have that up here. And I had to kind of dig around and look. There's an edit option here, but under site identity, I found that the logo was right here. So that's where we can change it. So there isn't really any code modifications needed for this particular one, but I'll go ahead and make that change, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so we have the new logo cropped and uploaded, and as I started to scroll down, I noticed that if you see right here very closely, let's see if I can zoom in on this, like we got this gap, right? It's this very subtle gap. So I dug through the DOM, clicked on the image, I don't see any negative margin or anything like that. But I kept going down the page, and I noticed right here we had a line height. So I uncheck that, and it kind of shifts it around, and I uncheck that, boom, fixed it. Now it's perfect. So we'll have to come over here and fix this stuff next, but that was the problem. Okay, one of the other tasks was to add a few pages to manage owners and tenants. So I created that page, and then I'm going to go ahead and add that to the menu. This might be a good chance to review how the WordPress menu works. So under menus, you can find all your different posts and pages. When you find the one that you want, you simply click it and hit add to menu. And typically this is where people get confused. If you have a long menu, well, hey, did that work? I don't see anything. You kind of have to scroll down, and you'll see that it added it to the very end. So if you were expecting it to show up first, it probably won't. I've seen that happen. I know that seems really silly, but it can be a little confusing if you've never worked with this before. So anytime you click and add to the menu, it always adds it to the end. Once you've added it to the menu, then all you'll need to do is hit Save Menu. Okay, next up, let's take a look at this green. It just doesn't feel like it matches the site super well. And so what I'm going to suggest, I haven't got this approved with the client yet, but just to give them suggestions, which they wanted, let's change this green, I think, to a blue. I just think that would feel better and build trust rather than like, hey, I'm trying to sell you on something. So I went over to this site, Realtor, and I just thought that would be a good blue to just try and experiment with. So let's inspect this blue. Let's drop, let's pick that color out of there. And I don't know how we're gonna get it. One trick here, this might be a cool trick. So let's say I can't find this exact color right away. What you can do is find any color, click on it, and you're gonna get the little color picker with Chrome. So I can click, select it. Now I've got that exact blue that I was after. And we'll do the same thing for here. So I know I've got that green, here it is, and I'll just paste it right in. So that's a quick way to see what a site might look like, right? And I think that just looks a little better. I might even just go where we change this to all white. Clearly we'll have to change the link color, but this will just help with the logo. And then maybe what we would do is maybe let's put a border top, maybe of like 3 pixels with that blue. Maybe we want to bump that up a little bit more. Just something to give that subtle color, highlight, accent. Something like that. Okay, so to give some design recommendations, I thought that we can redo the nav like we already explored. Drop the blog out of the main navigation there, as that really isn't the primary focus. It hasn't been updated in a while. The login, I'm not really sure what this is used for or if we do need that, but I would call that out differently, maybe put it in a button, but draw either more focus to it or again move that to the footer. So speaking of the footer, some things I do to improve here, it's really hard to read all this text as well as it's all in caps. So I would probably split the footer into 2 columns. The first column being a little wider and have all the locations. And then the second column, putting all the information there, such as, the contact and the social media and anything else. Update the social media icons. We've got duplicate information down here, so I would remove that. And maybe just put the name of the site or something with copyright info or something like that down at the bottom. But yeah, just kind of rework that. In the first column with the locations, I'd probably split it into 2 or 3 columns. I think having 6 or 5 here is a little much to scan all these locations, so probably do that, make it a little longer. I wouldn't necessarily bold or highlight any particular area unless there was a reason for that. But yeah, that's kind of what I would do, and visualize that if you would. So yeah. Okay, so the tools I like to use when running a page speed test on a website is Page Speed Insights by Google, and then there's another one here called GT Metrics, and there's a few others, and it depends on what I'm using, but these two are maybe the more common that I go to. So with Page Speed Insights, we have mobile and desktop, and they each have their own score, as you can see. And we can look here at maybe some things that we can do. So, red would probably be a good indicator to look there first, right? This is taking up almost 2 seconds of time to load. And we can see that it's coming from a lot of CSS files, a lot of JavaScript files, and that comes from plugins or the theme or various things. So themes sometimes come with all these options, and you might not utilize all of those things, and so that can really bog down your site. When I build websites, I try to minify everything into just one JS and CSS file, and that helps a lot with caching and just optimizing everything as small as you can. So there's that. We've got some caching things that we can do. Some of these images maybe could be smaller too. They're pretty small size. That's actually pretty good. So that's not too bad. And then you can see what's passed, all the things that have been done correctly. So this is a great resource. I like it. You can get a Chrome extension as well, and be right on your website and look and get that score. I just kind of like coming directly here and watching it analyze and kind of look and get some more context for the stuff. So with this one, the page speed looks like it's saying, the images aren't scaled correctly. We can do some browser caching, and the JavaScript files are struggling. And some of these things are either coming from WordPress itself or plugins. That could be really slowing down the site. So those are some things to look for. Overall, those are the two tools that I like to use. So let me know if you have something better or something else that you like, or other things that you look for. Page speed and performance in general is pretty vast. There's a lot of stuff to do. Maybe we'll dive into that more, specifically how we would fix these problems. Again, just want to give you kind of a general overview. Okay, hope that helps.